two examples of the eagle and the cloud are sufficient to prove that flying and floating can be made possible through adjustments of the air. The planets, in a similar way, are floating because material nature adjusts the air according to the orders of the Supreme Lord. It could be said that these adjustments constitute the law of gravity, but in any case, one must accept that these laws are made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The so-called scientists have no control over them. The scientists can falsely, improperly declare that there is no God, but this is not a fact. So this is a great report. Obviously, it's very informative. It's exactly what's going on in the universe. Srimad Bhagavatam is amazing that it gives us all this information. And as we see in this report here, Prabhupada is saying it's not clustered together because of the law of gravity or any similar idea of the modern scientists. Right? So basically, this gives us a clue that Newton's law of gravity has been replaced by Einstein's theory of relativity. So some people, if you question them about gravity, they say, oh, well, we don't really accept that now, we accept the theory of relativity. Now, it's not a valid point because they still use the term, or the so-called theory of gravity to explain how everything sticks to this globe. So we still can't explain that. But when it comes to the orbit of the planets, those are the two kind of main things that gravity does. They claim that there's a new theory, the theory of relativity. Prabhupada talks about this also in the material world. In order to be important, one philosopher has to outdo the next philosopher and come up with a bigger, better theory. And it's all based on mental speculation.
I hate to say this, but there's no such thing as the force of gravity.
What? I wish I didn't know that.
Sorry, say that again, Marcus.
There's no such thing as the force of gravity.
Well, explain that.
I can explain it with some maggots, which I just happen to have here.
Oh my God, he's brought some.
And has anyone got my trampoline?
Oh God, he's bought a trampoline now.
And Reg, you got my bowling ball?
Okay, Marcus, explain to us what's happening here because this looks fairly.
Thanks very much.
Upsetting. Right. Okay.
Right. Okay. I'm going to put some of these maggots on this trampoline.
Okay. Alright.
Now this is a two-dimensional flat surface.
Yeah.
And let's assume these maggots live on this surface.
Yeah.
Now it would be easy for one of these maggots to go from one side of the trampoline to the other in a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay. So I put this bowling ball in the middle.
Yeah.
And it creates this kind of valley in the trampoline.
Yeah.
Now if these maggots want to cross this trampoline in a straight line, they'll find that they can kind of get deflected towards this bowling ball.
Yeah.
And if they can only experience this two-dimensional surface, they might think, if they can think, that there's some kind of weird attraction pulling them towards this bowling ball. And they might even call it gravity. But from our perspective, there is no such thing, there is no force. All there is this valley that's been made by this bowling ball.
Right.
Now, this is just like the sun is like the bowling ball. It creates a valley in the space-time, in the space around it. And the Earth is not actually attracted to the sun by a force. It's actually rolling around the edge of this valley like a kind of roulette ball in a roulette wheel. So there isn't actually any force.
So we're as deluded as those maggots, basically.
Absolutely. That's why it took Einstein to realise, it took a genius to realise that there is no force. But all that's happening is the Earth is moving in a straight line. But of course, a straight line, or the shortest distance between 2 points, in a kind of curved thing like this, is a circle.
It's a circle.
I think we're finding that the maggots are still finding a way to get the hell away from that ball, man. Because they're coming off the side there and everything now. So what they have done is they have escaped that plane of existence and then gone on to another one. Sort of like...
So that's the newest theory that most scientists accept and they're teaching in the schools, which is the theory of relativity. So basically the sun is so massive that it's bending space-time, it's creating a valley, and all the planets that would normally be going in a straight line are now forced to go into a circle. So that's the mental speculation of Einstein. Here's Einstein here, giving us the Kali tongue, Another kind of symbol that the Illuminati will sometimes give is flashing the tongue of Goddess Kali. You see it all over here.
That's why he did it?
Could be, we don't know, but kind of see it. A lot of people think that.
Well, he claimed to
May
be
or
a
may not
believer.
be.
He was not a believer of any divinity. Even though he was born Jewish, he was not, he said himself, I don't believe in that nonsense. Like, divinity and gods, even though he was born Jewish.
Yeah, oh, he's born Jewish. Well, he also had quotes where he says he does believe in the existence of God.
He does?
Yeah. But the Illuminati, they...
When he was close to dying, yeah.
With Wix, you can create a professional website that...
Oh yeah, that's the time to get with it. But the Illuminati, they don't necessarily, ultimately, they want to push atheism and ultimately Luciferianism. So just show this real quick. Also, the theory of relativity.
The explanation for gravity is that matter bends space. And so you put mass in a place in space, it warps space-time, and objects are not feeling a force of gravity, they're just following the natural curvature. And so this is a sheet of Lycra. Where do you get this? This is my old bike shorts. There's literally a spandex.com. That's Einstein's picture of gravity. Objects warp space-time, feel that curvature, and move accordingly. And if you have more mass,
Right there. On that.
if you have more mass, it's going to bend space-time more. And so if you have objects there, they're going to respond to that, right? And so you put something there, now it's attracted. Now, in reality, that big mass would feel the warping of space-time by the marble too, right? It would move a little bit, but we usually ignore that. The Earth makes the sun move a little bit, but it's so small you can ignore it. The moon makes the Earth kind of wobble around a point 3/4 of the way from the center of the Earth. We usually don't account for that when we look at the satellite motion. What? Well, instead of just letting go of one, what if I give it a sideways push? Now it orbits. Now it's losing energy, which wouldn't happen in the solar system, right? Not noticeably. There's some perturbations from other planets and things, but this one does lose energy and spirals in. If I don't push it as hard, it will do an ellipse for a while anyway. And some more here. So one of the things I thought of to do with this is when you study the solar system, all the planets are going around the sun the same way. Why is that?
Listen to this part.
God decide that he only likes clockwise, or depends on whether he's above or below the solar
There's one
system,
planet that
right?
goes past.
Why is everything going in the same direction? Well, the answer is it wasn't. Different directions. But there was a preferred direction. The distant form from had a slight preference one way versus another, and things going the opposite way got eliminated, and when it's all said and done, everything's going the same way.
A bunch of planets had to die.
That works 90% of the time.
Is it like a toilet flushing? Southern hemisphere? Wow. You do not.
Then we get the point. That's their theory of why and how the planets are moving the way they're moving. But there's so many questions and holes in that story.
Does he go into some other explanations with this, or
Not really. Not much, no.
he doesn't do another demonstration then?
I mean, he goes into
The wrong way get eliminated,
he
right?
basically says if you have two together and you move them, then they orbit each other,
Right.
like that. And then he mentions sometimes they do figure eights, which is how they got to the moon somehow or other. They sent out.
You can't buy Lycra this big. You get it in rolls, and you have to sew it together. I've been told to use stretchy string. When we first started, we sent our spaceships on what are called free return trajectories.
Yeah, you talk about our so-called trip to the moon, what we did here.
So they would go to the moon. This is hard to get to point. And they would come back in like a figure eight. And so that lets you show. Now, of course, the moon's a lot smaller, but if you look at the plots of the free return trajectory back from the Apollo program, you'll see it has a figure 8 sort of shape. And so this takes a little bit of practice to be able to do the figure 8s.
Can't
These
do it on a
clamps around
triangle.
here,
You do it in
you
space.
can adjust to make it tighter if it's not working. So Steve and I, when we set this up in the morning, we played around with it.
So yeah, he's a good teacher. I don't want to, talk bad about him, but it's just, we want to study what do the scriptures say. So the scriptures say that
and traversed
is going around the pole star.
Hills, a stretch long enough to have taken her 6 times round on the globular hypothesis. Dr. Samuel Robotham wrote, "If we now consider the fact that when we travel by land or sea, and from any part of the known world in a direction towards the North Polar Star, we shall arrive at one and the same point, we are forced to the conclusion that what has hitherto been called the North Polar region is really the center of the Earth, that from this northern center,
So this is a depiction of our solar system according to the Bhagavatam. Shishumar, the dolphin in the middle, all the planets and stars are surrounding our Bhumandala. Srila Prabhupada is saying this planetary system is rotating from east to west.
What is the significance of the dolphin?
And is hanging like the chandelier. What's it? Taking shelter of the pole star that is up here. That we can see every night. The dolphin is it's basically the shape that the stars are taking. It's like a metaphorical shape dolphin. We call it Shishumar, the dolphin planetary shape or system. And it's worshipped by materialists who don't have the personal conception of God yet. It's recommended that they worship Shishumar, the universal form of the Lord. So, as Prabhupada said, we can see this every night. So here we see the stars and planets are rotating around pole star right in the center there. They're rotating around us. You can see that stop motion cameras.
These are actual photos in
Yeah.
stop motion
Yeah.
and lapse time
Right?
lapse.
Time lapse.
Time
Exactly,
lapse. Yeah.
yeah. You see some of them maybe enhanced with some color or whatever, but yeah, they're real pictures. So, and the reason that it's off-centered here is because we are not directly under the pole star. That's actually the center of Jambudvip, which would be Mount Meru.
We're way out to the edge.
Yeah, we're down on the southern east edge. So that's why it's up there to us. So that's the reality of what's going on. Now, the last part is, what is holding up the earth? And the answer is Ananta Shesh, the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Lord Balaram, specifically Lord Balaram. So it's this so-called gravity is the power of Sankarsha, who is specifically holding up the earth. Here's a picture of Lord Sankarsha holding up the earth disk, earth circle, on his transcendental hoods. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita you'll find Aham Dharamyami Ojasa, who is sustaining all these big planets. We are explaining gravity, quote unquote gravity, and in the Shastra we find that it is being carried by Sankarsha, morning walk. The scientist's law of gravity is a partial explanation of Lord Sankarsha's energy. The name Sankarsha has an etymological relationship to the idea of gravity from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation, but actually it is the display of the potency of Sankarsha. Being the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Prithu Maharaj possessed the power of Sankarsha, which is explained by the scientists as the power of gravitation. So what about the Earth? How does Bhumandala float? First of all, the Earth is not a planet. Dum, dum, dum. So down here we have our Earth circle, and up here we have the planets and stars. The planets and stars are known by the Sanskrit word graha, which means planet, and it means to rope or to bind. And so all our destinies and our karma are ruled by these planets and stars, ultimately by the demigods ruling those planets and stars. But where we live down here on Bhumandala, these are all considered dvipas. The word is dvipa, islands surrounded by oceans. So the Earth is not a graha, but is a dvipa. And the fact is that Earth is flat round, which is circular. It's stationary, it's not moving, and it is unlike the other grahas or planets. So here, Svarup Damodar asks, Srila Prabhupada, are the planets shaped like balls or more like plates? Because it's hard to understand, because they are called dvipas, islands. Their roundness is the roundness of a plate or like a ball? Prabhupada asks, which one? Svarup, the earth planet. Prabhupada, if it is like a tree, then these things can be as dvipa, islands. So I just want to show that. So as we were saying, up here, everything that's rotating above us in the sky, that's like a tree. And Prabhupada says, if this is like a tree, then these down here are like dvipas. Circular, flat, like a plate. Not a ball, like a plate. And then Tamal Krishna says, wow, Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna, the scientists are getting smashed to bits by your statements, Srila Prabhupada. This destroys their whole theory. Orbs, round spheres. I think that this Mayapur building, we must build a big planetarium in it. Prabhupada, yes, that I am going to do, Vedic planetarium. The interesting quick point is that the Greeks and Romans also knew that the Earth was not a planet. They have 7 days of the week based on the planets, the main planets. So they have Sunday, Monday, Mars, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. So our days of the week are based on those planets, those 7 planets. And the Earth is not mentioned there. The planets are also called wandering stars. So the point is the Earth is not moving at all. So we can see that here. Pushta Krishna asks Prabhupada, is the Earth also spinning? Prabhupada says definitively, no. So the Earth is not moving, it's flat, stationary. It's a dvipa, not a graha. So our Earth here, this Bhumandala or Earth circle, just keep in mind that our Earth where we currently are residing right now, sitting, is not this whole thing, but it's a small part of this. It's a small circle island in the very center of this, on the southern coast of the inside island called Jambudvip. So Earth can be known as this entire circle, which is 4 billion miles long, and it can also be considered where we live. The specific name of where we live is called Bharatvarsha. And Anantashesh is resting on the surface of the Garbhodaka ocean, and he's holding this Earth circle. You see a picture of that here. Garbhodaka ocean is down here, filling up half of the universe. Anantashesh is sitting on that, holding the entire core of the Earth, Bhumandala, on its hoods. In the core of the Earth, you have the 7 subterranean planetary systems, including the hellish realms. Up here we have the surface of the Earth. We have Mount Meru, which is a golden mountain, which rises for 672,000 miles above the Earth. 128,000 miles is below the Earth. 80,000 miles down will be the first subterranean heavenly planet called Atala, all being held up by Anantashesh. So as Prabhupada says, the law of gravitation, in other words, what's holding the Earth in place, is actually Anantashesh. It's an incarnation of God. So I want to do a whole other talk on Anantashesh, and so we'll get more into that. And I know it's kind of getting late, but I do want to read just a few of these quotes. It's from the Bhagavatam 5th Canto, 25th chapter. This is where the cosmology is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, my dear king, approximately 240,000 miles beneath the planet Patala lives another incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the expansion of Lord Vishnu, known as Lord Ananta or Lord Sankarsha. So here we have from the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, which is the story of how Anantashesh got the power to hold the earth. It's a very nice story. I just want to save it. Is that all right? You guys want to hear it?
Save it for next time.
Save it for the Sankarshan talk. It's kind of late and I have just a few more videos. But basically, he's given power by Lord Brahma. Shesha said, O divine Lord of all creatures, O bestower of boons, O Lord of the earth, Lord of every created living, every created thing, Lord of the universe, I will, even as thou sayest, hold the earth steady. Therefore, O Lord of all creatures, place her on my head. Brahma said, O best of snakes, go underneath the earth. She will herself give thee a crevice to pass through. And, O Shesha, by holding the earth, thou shalt certainly do what is prized by me very greatly. The elder, Sauti continued, then the elder brother of the king of the snakes, entering a hole, passed to the other side of the earth, and holding her, supported with his head that goddess with her belt of seas passing all around. Brahman said, O Shesha, best of snakes, thou art the god Dharma, because alone with thy huge body thou supportest the earth with everything on her, even as I myself, or Valavit Indra, can. Sauti continued, the snake Shesha, the Lord Ananta, of great prowess, lives underneath the earth, alone supporting the world at the command of Brahman. And the illustrious grandsire, the best of the immortals, then gave unto Ananta the bird of fair feathers, viz., the son of Vinata, for Ananta's son. So the Acharyas in their purports to these verses also confirm that Shesha is holding specifically the earth, Bhumandala. Even the name of Ananta is fully justified in him because of his infinite strength. Ananta means boundless, which is evident since he bears the entire earth effortlessly on his head like a mustard seed. It's commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam by Bhagavad Prasadacharya. He is called Ananta because of his infinite strength, indicated by his bearing the earth on his head like a mustard seed. That's by Yadavarya. And the entire earth rests on one of his thousand hoods like a mustard seed. Thus, because of his infinite strength, he is called Ananta by Virarangyana. There we see another picture. Ananta Shesh holding the entire Bhumandala on his hood. So there is the explanation of why the earth is loaded. So here we'll just finish up with Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of the world's leading scientists, and his description of what is gravity.
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
So did I accidentally ask a deeper question than I meant to?
Yeah, no, you were meant to ask deep questions
Apparently I was.
in life. So to say, what is it? I think Einstein, in an Einsteinian answer, we would say gravity is the curvature of space and time. And objects will follow the curvature of space-time, and we interpret that as a force of gravity. That's probably the best answer I can give to a what is gravity question, or why is there gravity. That's the best I can do there. I think that's a good start. And I can also say that Einstein noted that matter tells space how to curve, space tells matter how to move.
Say that again.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is. No, I want to get that. I
Yeah,
like
so
that. That's a t-shirt.
matter and energy will curve the fabric of space.
Okay.
And it's that curvature that tells other matter how to move in the curvature of space itself. And so Einstein juxtaposed those in a poetic phrase where he said, matter tells space how to curve, space tells... Did I get that right? Yeah. Matter tells space how to curve, space tells matter how to move. It's beautiful.
That is.
So here we see the example that Prabhupada was given. 1.1 million pounds of water in the floating clouds. Gravity is off. How does that happen? There's our helium balloon defying gravity. Gravity strong enough to stick trillions of gallons of water onto a sphere, but weak enough not to sink a man in the kayak. So that's also the example that the devotee was speaking with Prabhupada about. Prabhupada said, why is the green apple not falling? And the devotee said, well, the stem is stronger than the force of gravity. But if we really think that through, it's, how is that possible?
Gravity's holding buildings
Yeah.
and everything else, but that little apple
Yeah.
can stay on that little twig.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gravity's holding the entire Atlantic,
So like
Pacific Oceans to the side and bottoms of this ball.
Yeah.
And yet it can't make an apple fall, so it's really the air. Perfect. But we are not tired of God. We want to learn about God. We want to learn, what does Krishna say about this planet and this, cosmology and everything. There's the Bhagavatam and Krishna consciousness gives answers to all questions. All science, cosmology, sociology, psychology, everything is there. And Prabhupada wanted us to create gurukuls and to educate our children in the world about the scripture and what it says about reality and God and ourselves and nature. So I think it's important for us to study these things and get these things right and teach our children the right things. And these things the truth is coming out. Krishna is revealing these things. 2015, the Flat Earth movement started, and people just making videos, questioning these things that Prabhupada mentioned so long ago, and now everything is coming to fruition. So basically, just to summarize, there's no gravity, and Krishna is God, and we should just take the scripture and follow our spiritual master and what he says, and study it very deeply, and I think it can make us very happy. Thank you for everyone for coming, and I'll just ended with some funny things here. Meanwhile, in Australia, everything is upside down. The water is sticking to the bottom of the ball. The helicopter's flying upside down. Right? This is literally, this is what they're saying is happening. It might seem ridiculous, but that's what they're claiming is happening in our world. So meanwhile, in Australia, you do a handstand, so now you stick to the ground. You don't fall. Meanwhile, at the equator of the globe, completely sideways, somehow that water is sticking to that ball by that magic force of gravity that doesn't exist. So the point is, the world is not a ball. It can't be. It's a flat circular disc. Thank you everyone for coming. That's all. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.